Hello, it's that Welsh bloke with a pipe that talks about everything. Welcome to the Tainted Tavern.
Oh, come into the Tainted Tavern, come raise a glass with me. We may not put the world to right, but we'll sure give it a go.
You know, my grandson started speaking American. We were sitting here the other night playing Resident Evil on the Xbox. And I was eating a pack of Walkers, pickled onion crisps. I do like pickled onion. You can't get them everywhere. They're lovely crisps. And I'd finished my crisps. We were at a low point in the game. The game was paused. So my grandson was going out to get himself a drink of what I would call pop, but he calls soda. And he says to me, he looks down at my empty crisp packet and he says, "Have we finished those chips?" His crisps are chips and his chips are fries. He's going on holidays next month to Disneyland. My daughter's taking him to Disneyland. And he told me he's going on vacation. Started talking American. It's where my generation was brought up on the likes of Desperate Dan and Only Fools and Horses. His generation has been reared on Marvel superheroes and Mr. Beast. He's become more and more Americanized. They never used to be like that. Or did they? I'm smoking my Funky Falcon today with a meerschaum bowl, and in it I've got some Ennerdale Flake. How British can you get? But today I want to talk about how American culture has taken over in many, many ways. And as I said, it's a linguistic minefield to try and keep up with my grandson. I mean, not that long back, he called me a goat and I gave him a clip around the ear. Then I had to apologise and buy him a new game because apparently goat means greatest of all time. The word sick suddenly means awesome. The word bad means good. It's a total linguistic minefield, the Americanisms that has crept into our culture. And I was thinking, you know, I was sitting down, I was thinking, I've made extensive notes here, so if you see me glancing down, I'm just checking my notes because there's various things I want to talk about on this. But the way words have changed, my grandson uses vacation instead of holiday, he uses chips instead of crisps, he uses fries instead of chips. I ask him to take the rubbish out, he looks at me like I'm talking a different language. Do you mean the garbage, Grandad? Or Popsy as he calls me. Looking back to my own childhood, I suppose in many ways it's always been there. Was it George Bernard Shaw who said that England, Britain and America are two countries separated by a common language? I believe it was Bernard Shaw. But I mean, American culture was there when I was a kid too, so I don't suppose it's anything new. It's just moved on a few decades. I mean, we were brought up, weaned on British television, and we had the likes of Z cars and stuff like that, you know. The British Bobby on the beat, he'd walk around with an helmet that resembled a tit, and, you know, he'd clip you across the ear. Whereas in America, Dirty Harry would stick a Magnum 44 up your arse. America was always so cool. Take British comics. I mean, we had the Dandy, we had the Beano, we had stuff like 2000 AD, Battle Action, some great, fantastic comics. But they used to be printed on paper that was one step up from newspaper. And it'd leave ink on your fingers, and yet the Americans had these glossy comics with Spider-Man, the Hulk, Batman, Superman. So America was always there. Skateboards became a big thing in the UK in the 70s when I was a kid. And yet that came from Southern California surf culture. So I suppose Americanisms has always been there, and you can lay the blame squarely on Hollywood. You can say, well, Hollywood has always dominated popular culture, but that wasn't always the case. And prior to 1914, the real big hitters in the global film industry were France, Italy and the UK. It was only with the outbreak of the First World War, which affected much of Europe, that America gained its stranglehold on the industry. And when the Second World War broke out, America was able to totally dominate the film industry. Of course, it did help that the Americans had the coolest films. I mean, who doesn't love a Western or a film noir? But I suppose myself, I've always been steeped in American culture. I mean, I started off my writing career by penning Western novels for Robert Hale under the name Jack Martin. Jack Martin, of course, was my grandfather's name, and I adopted off of my Western novels. I wrote several Westerns for Robert Hale back in the day. In fact, this was starting me off on my my writing career. So I've always soaked, it's my first ever book published, so I've always soaked up The Man from Jerusalem, another one. I may as well plug a couple more. The Ballad of Delta Rose, really love this book. But I suppose I've always been steeped in American culture. It's always been a part of who I am. I mean, American culture started changing British culture way back before my time. But in the 70s, it was 1974, the McDonald's opened its first store in Woolwich. And until then, fast food to us was fish and chips served out of a newspaper. All of a sudden then we had burgers. We used to eat with a knife and fork. Then we could just ram a burger in our mouth. In Memphis in 1916, an entrepreneur named Clarence Sanders opened a new kind of shop called Piggly Wiggly. And from Piggly Wiggly, the modern phenomenon of the supermarket was born. So it's not only in pop culture, in our way of life, America has had such an influence on British culture that I now feel sometimes that I live in the United States of Wales. And I thought this video was going to be a rant, bemoaning the fact that America seems to be dominating our culture, dominating everything, changing everything for the worst. That's what I thought this video was going to be about. But at the end of the day, it's not. This video is a love letter to America. A thank you letter to America for giving us all this cool shit, for giving us Elvis Presley. I love the King. Who doesn't love the King? Hey, speaking of the King, I had a new CD today. It came today. These are replacement CDs from CDs I already had, but they got lost in the amount of times I've moved home or whatever. And it's a lovely package. This it's Elvis, so it's 2 CDs in here. You've got 2 albums. You've got Elvis #1. Which collects together 30 of his #1 hits. That's not the entirety of his #1 hits, but it collected the majority of them, and it also had the bonus track on here with the J&L radio edit remix of A Little Less Conversation, which is so fucking cool. And the second album in the set is Elvis 2, which collects together the remaining #1s, which couldn't be fitted on here because of CD runtimes, as well as B-sides and fan favourite tracks. This also has a remix of Rubberneckin' by Paul Oakenfold. And it was also the first time that the song I'm a Roast About appeared on CD. So these are really great. As I say, I love the King. But going back to how American culture has dominated not only my Wales, but the rest of the UK and a great portion of the world itself. I mean, I can remember when we were kids and a lot of us had Sturmey Archer 3-speed bikes, and we thought that was so cool, bicycles. But then all of a sudden Raleigh, which admittedly had a British company, brought out the Chopper. The Chopper was such a cool beast of a bike. I mean, it was a British make. Raleigh was a British company. The design of the Chopper was very much based on the American wheelie bikes, where we had our coppers driving round in nondescript cars on television. We had, from America, we had that, which was a really exciting program when I was a kid. I was a massive fan. I never missed it. It was massive over here, and that was Starsky and Hutch. How cool was that? We had grey-looking cars. They had the red Tomato, the Ford Torino. Wow! Keeping up with my grandson is really hard work. The way that the meaning of words has changed so much. As I said, sick now means pretty bloody good. Goat is greatest of all time. Bad means good. But fire. If my grandson says to me, "Hey, Pops, you're on fire," that means you're super cool, which is a really good compliment. But when I was a kid, if someone said to me, "Hey, you're on fire," I'd be patting myself down. Drip means style. So, hey, You look very drip today. That means style. Got words now which are part of the British lexicon, which have been there for decades now, when they've all come from America, such as gross to mean disgusting, sucker to mean hey, screw you sucker, holy shit. That's kind of, we've always said holy shit, affirmative rather than yes. It's all there. It's all part of the culture. And as I say, this Americanization of the culture has always been there. When I was a kid, if you went into any of my friends' toy boxes, they'd have plastic cowboy guns and little plastic figures. We had forts when we were kids. We used to play with forts. I think America is just super cool, isn't it? Oh, and skipping a little bit from America to Canada, congratulations to Canada for the result last night. This is the first time they've reached the knockout stages of the World Cup, and they hammered South Africa last night. Well, they didn't hammer them, but they won 1-0. It looked like it was going to be a draw and go into penalties, but just in the last few minutes of stoppage time, Canada scored. So well done, Canada. You led it to America. Because when I think of all the cool stuff that America has given us, rock and roll, Elvis Presley, bourbon, whiskey and beef jerky, Chandler, Twain, Hemingway, orange presidents. So I guess after all that, there's just one thing to say. God bless America. Cheers. Yakida. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, then please subscribe. It does help the channel grow, and I'd really appreciate it. And also, if you look down below this video, you'll see a little notification bell. If you click on that bell, you'll get a notification every time we upload a new video to the Tainted Tavern. And they are coming thick and fast. Tomorrow we've got our first ever Tainted Tavern live stream. That's 9 o'clock PM British Standard Time. So if you want to come and take part in that, you're more than welcome. It's called the Tainted Tavern First Live Pipe Meet, because I'm suspecting I'll get a lot of pipe smokers there, and pipe smokers is always going to be an intrinsic part of this channel. So I want to push that, but you come along. Even if you're not a pipe smoker, it's going to be a bit of fun. We can talk about everything. We can talk about movies. We can talk about music. We can talk about everything. We can talk about the king of rock and roll, baby. So, as I think, thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers, Solange. Bye for now.
Please come back soon.